Yep. And all right, where would you like to begin?
Um, let me see. I didn't have any questions really on the practice test, and I was just getting to chapter 8, so I don't really have too many questions yet. I was still going through the video.
So one I want to ask you about. I got to find it now. Yeah. So did you get? I think it was you that asked me about this last week. Do you get number 17?
17. Yes. Let me see what the question was. Was that just to see which one implies the other?
And they say find all the implications.
Yep.
And I think, was that you that asked me about that?
Might have been.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we did go through it, but okay. So you don't really have any questions. Okay, well, that's a good sign. You're obviously very well prepared.
Yeah, I think I'm ready for the test.
That's great. Yeah. So when it comes to that 100 minutes, you just have to be aware of that so that you plan. I mean, it cuts it off at midnight, so obviously you need to start early. And I don't know if you would take it that late anyway. But
yeah, I don't think so.
But you gotta plan ahead for that.
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay. Is that me that beeped?
No, I think that was me. Sorry.
Okay. No, you go ahead and beep. I just wanted to make sure
okay.
I wasn't missing something. My phone here, my computer on.
Yep.
You know, I thought, yeah, it didn't sound like one of my beeps. So it could be kind of a boring video here.
Right? No, that's okay.
No, I just realized you put that up there. Okay, here's the review session we did, and then we sit on there and wait for 30 minutes or something.
Right.
Well, I can edit it too. It's just that takes extra time. Go in there. Yeah. I can trim it, which I probably should do. have a second person. Good evening, Leah.
Good evening. I'm sorry. I'm in Montana in a coffee shop, so.
Welcome, welcome from Montana.
Thank you. I didn't want to miss this lesson because I know we have the test coming up.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so Kelsey is here, and really she doesn't have any questions, so anytime you're ready, shoot.
That's a good place to be, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very good place to be.
Okay, it would probably be from practice 3.
Yep.
Okay, I went through the practice test one more time just to make sure that I was on the right track. I'm still having difficulty with 11 and 14. I know we probably talked about that previously, but.
Okay. So, I don't know if that's big enough, but here's number 11. Under which conditions is the following statement true? Sally is naturally beautiful, or she knows how to use makeup. So it's basically an inclusive or, the V or guy. So when is it? So the question is when, if you look at the truth table, I just did a quick truth table. N standing for naturally beautiful, and M stands for knows how to use makeup. Okay, so I just did an N inclusive or M. And the question is, when will this thing turn out to be true? So I did the truth table there. The only time it's going to be false is when? When both of them are false. You see how it's true, true, true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how I'd answer it. When is this going to be true? The only time it's going to be false is when she's not naturally beautiful and she does not know how to use makeup. So in other words, when both statements are false, that's the only time. So that what I wrote there and has that circle around it, that would be the answer.
Okay.
So it goes back to, hey, do you know your truth tables again? It's the truth table for inclusive or on that particular problem. So you're in big sky country in Montana. That's what they call it. Leah?
Yes.
Is that right? You're in big sky country? Okay, I got it. Okay. You don't have, yeah, I forget. You're in a coffee shop. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if she was going to be brave enough to speak up.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's dedication though. She's on vacation and
It is.
coming to our class meeting too.
I know I had one of those where I had this class and I had a very important family picnic I needed to go to. So that time and then I've done it from camping along the Mississippi. That was a real challenge though, because I had to find the internet.
I bet, yeah.
And, I had to drive around town, and I finally found the library, which was closed. And if I sat on the porch, I could just barely get enough. So
there you go.
Put that one sitting on the porch of the library.
Nice.
Yeah. So kind of funny.
Yeah. So we're technically in week 7 right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were right. You should have started. To be honest, the last 3 weeks are going to be dedicated to Chapter 8.
Okay.
So, this has 7. So technically, you're a little bit ahead. We'll probably spend weeks 8, 9, and then get ready for the exam. And have that during week 10. Well, not the exam. I'm going to just end up with a Chapter 8 test.
Okay.
So we will have no final exam.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting yours? So, Kelsey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Can you hear me, Leah? Leah, can you hear me now that you have your headphones?
I can hear you, but it goes off and on, so I'll follow along when I can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose you got other people using the internet in the coffee shop too.
Probably.
Yeah. We both admire the fact that you went through the trouble to connect. So
Thank you.
We're pretty impressed.
I was at Yellowstone and I was in the hot spring and I got out really fast and I was like, I need to meet because I have a test coming up.
Wow. Today you were
awesome.
You were in Yellowstone today?
Yeah, just a couple minutes ago.
So in other words, you just went just north a little bit to cross the state line out of that northern entrance.
Yeah, I went out of that entrance and
yep.
I found a coffee shop. So yeah.
Wow, so you're right by Yellowstone. That's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Now, was Kelsey asking if we were supposed to take copies of our Chapter 8 lesson and hand those in, or just Chapter 3?
The notebooks handed in this week are only Chapter 3.
Okay.
That will come in the last handing in of the notebook when you hand in Chapter 8.
Okay.
So it's kind of odd, but we're doing Chapters 2, 3, and 8.
Good.
And I was also telling Kelsey, because I delayed this test, what I'm showing on the screen right now, that you actually have a little leeway. I mean, that's really what we're going to be. That's really starting in week 8. But if you've got to start on it, that's wonderful. So the last 3 weeks, 8, 9, and 10, are Chapter 8 and getting ready for the Chapter 8 test. We will not have a final exam. I will just go with those 3 chapter tests. And your 3 notebooks.
Do you offhand have the date when the test is going to be due, Chapter 8 test?
I don't.
Okay, that's okay.
I have to look at that yet.
That's fine.
But I mean, you know, this is what we're in chapter 7. We're in week 7 right now. So sometime during or at the end of week 10.
Okay.
Could we go over 24 and 25 possibly?
On the test?
Yeah, on the practice
Yep.
test. Okay.
Okay. So you were given these 3 statements. If P, then Q. If not P, then not R. And if S, then not Q.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to come up with a conclusion for that. So did you notice those are all if-thens? So this is one of those chain reaction problems. So I'm going to just write these down. If P, then Q. If not P, then not R. And if S, then not Q. Okay, do they chain? Do those chain?
Yes.
Those don't
No.
chain? They do not. Okay. So we obviously have to rewrite some of them. Okay. For example, that second one with knots on both of them, doesn't that kind of cry out for a contrapositive?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the contrapositive of that?
I'm trying to remember. R, not P?
It's reverse the order and negate them both. Well, when you negate a negation, it becomes, you know, just a letter with nothing on it. So the contrapositive of that second statement is if R, then P. All right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to take this statement and stick it right underneath that. Do you see why? Because now that one changed. If R, then P. If P is the P's nicely link those two together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what are we going to do with this last one? Well, how about the contrapositive again? If Q, then not S.
Mm-hmm.
Now they all link together. If R, then P. If P, then Q. If Q, then not S. Now, what was there anything else given?
I think that was it.
So what does that mean? I mean, what's the conclusion we can draw from that? Well, we could say, if you have R, I should put a therefore out in front. Therefore, if you have R, you're going to wind up with a not S.
Okay.
So that's the conclusion. So
makes sense.
When you have to do those chain reactions, sometimes you have to rewrite statements. Otherwise, you got to get them to chain. Otherwise, you just can't do anything.
Okay.
What was the other one you asked about?
25.
Okay. So we're supposed to come up with a switching network for this. So first what I did is all right. So you got to do the parentheses first. Not P or Q is a what? One on top of the other, a stack. And not P is the same as what? P P complement, P prime. And then the other one is P or not Q. So this time the not's on the Q, and that's an OR. And then those two ORs are ANDed, so those two little stacks are side by side.
Okay.
So that would be the answer they were looking for. So a switching network. By the way, I don't care. I mean, not P or P prime really are the same thing. So you'd have
Makes sense.
put a not in there instead of a prime, that would have been fine. What kind of temperature do you have in Montana?
In Montana, it is, let's see, right now it's 81.
Okay. Yeah, it's 83 here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's probably a lot drier out there too, isn't it?
Probably. Yeah.
Pretty hot and sticky here.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I stopped in at a coffee shop, and the people here speak Russian, so I was kind of excited about that.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's interesting. Could we do 37 on 19?
on 19. I don't know what you mean by that.
It's going to be exercise 3.7 and then number 19, but it's not the practice.
3.7, number 19. Got it. Okay. So I don't have the problem, so let me look it up. Yeah, it says simplify each network. Okay. So the first thing I did is I translated the diagram into a logic statement. The one under the red line, that's my translation of that diagram. It's P or Q because there's a stack of P and Q. It's Q or P because there's a stack of that. And then it's a stack of those two because they're stacked. So a stack stacked with a stack. Translation, P or Q or P. Okay, then I made a truth table. I put the truth values in, and I came up with the final answer of, I haven't done one part of that. It's supposed to be ANDed with not Q. So the final answer is this FTFF.
Okay.
So now the question is, can we come up with a simpler statement that also has the FTFF? And this would be like extra credit. This will not be on the test because if you go back to page 127, you remember those basic conjunctions?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't expect you to have that memorized, but notice there is a column there that has the FTFF result. P and not Q. So there's your simple. That certainly is a lot simpler than all of this garbage here on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So we simplified the network. And then if you write it out in a diagram, it's just P side by side with a not Q. So That's a little bit over the top, but that's how that, I mean, for a test, it's over the top because you kind of need that reference.
Could it be described possibly as if it's an electric circuit, it can follow all the way down to P and then Q prime?
Yeah. That's exactly what the answer, that's exactly correct. Leah, did you hear me? Hey, Leah. I better answer her on the phone.
I might be fading out.
Oh, answered in the chat. Follow Q. Wow, I'm not quite sure I get your second comment there. Follow Q. What do you mean follow Q? It's just that it comes out to FTFF.
Yes.
And this is the only path that has that, so it's P and not Q. So P and Q prime.
Okay.
Leah, I have another question for you. Are you going to be on vacation yet when it's test time?
I'm planning on getting up early and trying to take the test. I come back to Wisconsin on Sunday night.
Ah. Yeah, I was telling Kelsey that this test has a 100-minute limit as opposed to an hour. So 60 minutes. This test is a little bit longer and it's not that much longer, but just I feel you need that much time so you can try, you can actually, I don't know, so you have more time to think things through.
Okay.
But it also means a person has to plan in advance. You need 100 minutes, so you got to plan 100 minutes before midnight, Yeah, just a comment on your last chat. Converse is when you reverse the order. So if P then Q, the converse is if Q then P.
Mm-hmm.
Contrapositive, oh no, inverse is when you just negate them both. So if P then Q becomes if not P then not Q. And the contrapositive is when you negate them both and do the reverse. So it's kind of like contrapositive is the combination of the two. But ironically, the contrapositive, when you change all three of those things, becomes totally equivalent to the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helped, but
A little bit, yeah.
you're right. You're right. There's a fair amount to know by memory. Let's see, where do I have that converse? I'll just write it down.
Okay.
Those are the only two that are equivalent. Well, these are equivalent. These are equivalent too, but they're not equivalent to the original.
Okay. That makes sense.
So let's go. Let's quickly go through the rules. Okay, when you do an and, what's the rule?
When you do an and, it's true if both are true.
Correct. So here, that's this one. Okay. What if you do the inclusive or, that V? What's the rule for that?
False if both are false.
Yep. Okay. If then.
False if the first one's true and the second one's false.
Excellent. Yes. What about this one?
It's biconditional. True if they are the same.
Excellent. The exclusive or. That's the great part of video. I could see your eyes go up in the air like, oh, I knew you would ask me that one.
That's when they're different, right? And then it's
Yeah,
true?
this one is just the opposite of the one above it. True only when they're different, meaning
Okay.
true, false, false, true. Yep.
Mhm.
And I think I've got them all there, don't I?
I think
Yeah.
so.
That should be all of them. Yep. Leah, I just have one more comment on you in the hot springs.
Yes.
All I remember is the hot springs that I saw there, you wouldn't dare go in them because they were over like 270 degrees or something like that. Obviously, yours was just warm, huh? Or was it hot?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the springs you can't go in because there's sulfur and it's way too hot. But the ones we went to, they were supposed to be hot springs, but they were actually cool because of the recent rain.
Oh, I see. That's it.
Yeah. It was quite high today, so it was cool and high, but it was clean, so that's good.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we drove 19 and a half hours straight, no stopping. So
Why?
yeah, it's a long trip. I would recommend going with 3 people instead of 2.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, in my case, I would go with 5 people.
Good.
No, it just that is hard driving many hours.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we'll be going out to South Dakota near Wyoming
Oh,
in
wow.
a couple weeks. So we did that
Oh,
last
neat.
year too, and it was fun. But I probably won't have to drive.
Good.
I don't remember. I was listening to a podcast or what, but somebody told me they were going to South. Oh, I know. It was my pastor. He was talking. He's going to South Dakota on his vacation,
Nice.
and he said for the first time in his whole life, just about his whole life, when he goes to South Dakota in the summer, he's actually going to find green there
Yeah.
because they just like us have had quite a bit of rain.
Yeah. I went out there last year and it was pretty green too.
Was it?
Yep.
Neat.
Yeah.
So did you have any more questions?
I think I'm all set as far as ready for the test. I think I just need to go over the converse, inverse, and contrapositive.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions either.
You can always contact me if something comes up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Have a safe trip back, Leah.
Will
And
do. Thank you so much.
have a good trip, Kelsey.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. See ya.
Bye.